Was staying with our coverage of the rising spate of insecurity in the country. Now, the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria has attributed the recent spike in kidnapping and other security crises in the Northwest to the 2-month ultimatum issued to bandits. They are asking the federal government to proffer a lasting solution to the situation to prevent further degeneration. And joining me on this is the Executive Director, Human Rights Writers Association, Emmanuel Onwubiko. Good to have you join us, Emmanuel Onwubiko. You released, you had a press release rather on the current security situation in the country, and you said that the reason was seeing the rising spate of insecurity is because of a 2-month ultimatum given to bandits by the president. Help us understand the correlation between that ultimatum and the current rising spate of kidnappings we're seeing. I don't know if Emmanuel Onwubiko can hear me, but I'm just going to repeat the question, hoping that you can hear me. My question is, in your press release, which is your association's press release on the current security situation in the country, you attributed the rising spate of kidnapping to the ultimatum the president gave to bandits, 2 months ultimatum. What is the correlation between that ultimatum and the rising spate of kidnapping we're witnessing?
Well, we think and we're convinced that the government ideally ought not to give a deadline to criminals, because the primary responsibility and duty of government is to provide protection of lives and property. If you look at section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution. And if you look at the anti-terror law, there is no provision in that law book or in any statutes of Nigeria, criminal statutes, that says the government ought to give a deadline to offenders before the government can enforce the law. It's ridiculous for a government to begin to give deadline to people who are more or less violent non-state actors that are committing atrocities against the citizens of the country. So there are no moral, no legal, constitutional backing for that kind of arrangement that was disclosed by the governor of Zamfara State. That at a meeting with the president, Mr. President said the armed bandits in Zamfara and other parts of the north, they have the next 2 months to decide whether to surrender their arms and desist from their unlawful actions, or the government will crush the bandits. So if
Mr. Onwubiko, I just want to jump in, because if the government, if any government anywhere gives whether 2 months or 5 months, whatever duration it is of ultimatum to bandits, doesn't the responsibility then fall on that government to ensure that whatever it takes to eliminate or ensure that that crime isn't repeated, doesn't it fall on on that government to ensure that it keeps to the tenets of that ultimatum?
Well, if I understand what you asked, because there seems to be echo, there are a lot of echoes in between you and myself. So I think if what you're asking is whether government has the right to give a deadline, and the government has to do something within that time frame to ensure that the criminality stops, I do not think that it is legal, it is constitutional for a government put in place by the people and endowed and bestowed with the legitimacy to exercise authority in Nigeria, we begin to give deadlines to unlawful persons. The underlying objective for having a constitution and having the different criminal laws that you have in place is that people who have offended the laws of Nigeria ought to be prosecuted and punished in accordance with the due process of the law. So you cannot circumvent what the law has said. That is exactly what it is. And now if you give a deadline to a bunch of criminals within which they should desist from their criminality, since what they're doing gives them a lot of profit, a lot of money, they will maximize that the opportunities you've given to them to capture as many people as possible. So we are saying that it is quite irrational on the part of any government anywhere in the world to negotiate with criminals.
But Mr. Onwubiko,
crush the criminals decisively.
Mr. Onwubiko, do you actually see this spate of kidnap ending in the next 2 months? Do you think that these bandits will actually say, because there is some sort of ultimatum from the president, that in the next 2 months, if nothing is done, that they will desist from this act?
Well, kidnapping has been on the spike for a very long period of time. We are not convinced that 2 months is the time frame within which all kidnappings in Nigeria will stop. It will not stop. It will not stop. Well, why the way to go about it and the way to curb the kidnappings of citizens is for the law enforcement mechanisms, the law enforcement measures, actions that are supported by the law to be activated. Absolutely. If you have a bunch of people who are in government who are not loyal to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who do not believe that it is totally unlawful for any kind of military to exist in the country, then we begin to have a very big problem. We need those of our people that are in government, I mean those that have been elected by the Nigerian people, to exercise their authority in compliance totally and absolutely with the tenets, with the spirit and letters of the Constitution. You cannot circumvent what the law has said. There are no ways to think you are going to end criminality by issuing a deadline.
All right.
Why do you have the Constitution? Why do you have the laws in place? Why do you have the law enforcement authorities? Why do you have the police? Why do you have the armed security services?
I'm afraid we do have to leave it there. 2 months isn't far from now. We'll see how the ultimatum plays out, or how the bandits respond to the ultimatum. Executive Director of Human Rights Writers Association, Emmanuel Onwubiko, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.